What's up, y'all? It's T-Turn. Welcome to more Convergent Pokemon you didn't know you wanted. And I wanted to start with one that already has a Convergent form. See, this is what it looks like here. You already know what it is. You see, when they first brought in Alolan Meowth, they almost started a trend where they were going to introduce a regional Meowth every game. Then they quickly stopped. It's a shame, it was going summer too. But imagine if they do something like that for a particular regional fake. Like, for example, Tentacle here. Alright, so here's its eyes. That's about the only thing that looks like a tentacle on this thing. Because these are freaking wires with plugs at the end of them. And its head is a light bulb. That is totally not a tentacle. It's like a walking light bulb. So you imagine you go to some power plant area in a new Pokemon region. Once you get to like the deepest part, there's these guys just running all around. Its name is Light School. And tell me you don't want this. I don't know if Pokemon's intentional with it or not, but it creates such a weird world building vibe that you just keep seeing different looking tentacles minding their business in different regions. Especially when you consider that they're not related to each other. It actually has the perfect typing. It is electric ground. Because that's what, well, you don't have a ground plug. But yeah, all of our outlets, they got the 3 prongs. One of them is to ground it. So it makes sense. It's an electric ground type. Gosh, imagine you found these things, but they were stationed still like circuitry. Remember how freaky that was? I want to be in a power plant maze, and this thing's like hunting me, creeping around the corners, looking for me. They did something similar in Detective Pikachu where you have to like avoid Pokemon. That's what I want in some of the main series games. Light School rubs its feet against the floor to generate static energy and feed on it. It loves soft surfaces like carpets or Mareep's fur. Okay, so its light bulb is that old heat-styled light bulb that no one no longer uses. So Light School were abandoned and they have to find a different way to function. So their cables are actually useless. They try to generate static. This thing would be overpowered if it had like electric surge. This is when it gets cool. When Light School evolves, it turns into this thing and there's no way to tell what this thing is. Its name is Shockscroll and it's still an electric ground type. So they're the same eyes, there's the same tentacle wire hands, but mocking a tentacle, now it has these 4 extra cables that are just planting it to the ground. The light bulb's still on its head and the classic tentacle hat that acts as a lampshade. And that nose. And it's lighting everything up. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. It's a walking lampshade Pokemon made to work with Tentacruel's design. So you would like see these in, let's say the power went out in the power plant. These things would be walking around as the light spots. At first it looked like a UFO Pokemon to me, but it's as simple as just being a lamp. It's like patrolling abandoned houses and looking for plug outlets. Could you imagine that? Okay, but this is the cool bit, right? It has a new ability called on and off, where at the end of every turn, it switches from on mode to off mode. Oh god, look, you got some sketches. So look, it's like hiding in an abandoned place, and when it's on, the ghosts don't come near it, but when it's off, all the ghosts go to it, and it has to run away. Oh god, this is crazy. It's taken over a Mareep to generate energy. It kind of is a UFO. Shockscroll, despite its appearance, is a coward. This may be due to the fragility of its head. For this reason, it covers it with materials it finds on the ground. It is somewhat paranoid, always on the lookout for any threat, especially in the dark. If the lights in its head go out, it will desperately seek any source of light energy to feed itself. Wow, it's kind of afraid of the dark. It is very common to see Shockscroll living with humans in their homes, since even with little electricity, it can multiply it and transform it into renewable energy. But instead, the wild Shockscroll invade Mareep farms in order to absorb energy. Farmers who have seen this event believe they are alien beings that steal their livestock. This is actually so good. Oh, the ability is explained. On and off. When in on mode, Shockscroll becomes the center of attention, also being immune to ghost and dark attacks. I mean, that is really overpowered. To gain immunity to 2 whole typings, but then again, it's only in on mode. And while we're talking about electric types, here's an unpopular Pokemon from Hoenn getting an R fake. Those are its eyes, 4 spots. It's an electric type and its name is Chickmish. Just like this Pokemon here with its poison spots, Shroomish. I guess you'd see these things walking around the factory too. So it's a baby bird that just looks like Shroomish. In fact, it freaking looks like a giant egg. Is it still in the egg? Which, instead of Breloom, it evolves into Breltrich, like Breloom and Ostrich, where it's got these fast-running feet, even got an electric tail. and then the top of it, it's got this metal helmet and spikes. So the top part is actually like the Vandegraaffs, where you put your hand on it and your hair stands up, but the bottom half is an ostrich. Alright, and now we get to a badass one. So regional fakes are quite new. We haven't dived into them too much. We have the reversed case where Sinistcha evolves from Poltergeist. But one thing big regional fakes can touch on soon is creating regional fakes of something prominent, like an almost legendary. And so we get to this. It's hard to tell what it is at first, but once you take off the bottom, it becomes obvious it's a Slugma. It's got these bits flowing above, the droop in yellow, but it's not Slugma. It's listed as a fire dragon type, and its name is Guma, because it's a regional fake of Gumi. Could you imagine? This is the pseudo-legendary in a future Pokemon game. We already had the regional variant, which was Gudra and Legends. Wait a minute. Gumi, get out of here. Freaking give someone else the fake slot. Give it to Dragonite. Dude, every other pseudo got like a Paradox Mega or variant. If any pseudo gets a fake, it has to be Dratini. Okay, sorry Gumi, back to you. So yeah, technically it's not a Gumi, it just looks like one. And in fact, Guma evolves into a very interesting silhouette here called Slicargo, where that's that little face you can recognize and its hands. But it's actually got a giant cooled down magma shell. The coolest thing would be if Gamefreak threw this at us and then didn't explain what it was. You know, the implication being that it's biologically separate from Sliggoo, but for some reason resembles Macargo. And you know, Gamefreak's the type who would just drop something and not explain it. And you know, look at the names. Guma secretly has Slugma in it, and then Slicargo secretly has Macargo. But yeah, so Sliggoo evolves at level 50 in the rain or fog. Imagine you make this thing level 50 in the drought, and it evolves into this thing. So its name is Dracargo, and you can see the Gudra eyes, the drippy hands, but that whole shell is exactly like on Macargo, and it's got flame antenna. You know, you can imagine the Pokédex Sentry. It resembles that old Gudra from Hisui and appears to be a snail, but apparently they're unrelated. Don't ask me how it literally looks like a slug but somehow isn't. I guess we could just say it's lava that came to life. Come on, they made matcha powder and tea somehow completely biologically unrelated. I'll have you know, don't you make tea from matcha powder? This is like the next ultimate step for Game Freak with these regional fakes or convergent forms, where they introduce a Pokemon, say it's completely unrelated to something that it looks like, but show little hints of Pokemon it is related to. Like for example, Toadscroll is a giant mushroom Pokemon. Technically, it'd be like related to Amoonguss. Also, Fire Dragon is crazy. Somehow we only have 3 of them. Turtonator, Reshiram, and Charizard. Okay, fine. I guess Entei would be one too. But this is a pretty perfect typing. Anyhow, make sure I'll shank that like button and let me know a regional fake or conversion idea you have. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.